Hi everybody, it's Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio, and today I have another 16-inch vintage quilt block for you. This one is called the Oddfellows chain block, and let's see if I can back up enough you can see it. Here we go. So it's kind of a star within a star, and it is made with half square triangles and flying geese units and a cat's cradle unit. So it's got a couple of things going on, and it takes a little while to put together, just like the last 16-inch block we did, the Friendship Star block. But it's not that difficult, so I think you can get this one pretty easily. Just take your time. So I hope you'll join me, and I'll show you how to make the Oddfellows chain block. Here are the fabrics that you're going to need to make the Oddfellows chain block. For A, you need to cut 4 7/8 inch squares and then cut them on the diagonal, so you'll have 8 triangles. For B, you need 8 3.5 inch squares. For C, you need 8 2.5 inch squares. For D, you need 1 4.5 inch square. And for E, you need 16 3-inch squares, and you're going to take 8 of those and cut them on the diagonal. F is 4 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangles. And for G, you need 12 2.5 inch squares. So we're going to start first by making units, and the first unit we're going to make is the flying geese unit. So we're going to need the F and the C squares. So we're going to take these and make flying geese out of them. Okay, to make the flying geese units, I'm going to place my square right sides together on one side, on the left side of the rectangle, and I'm going to sew from this corner to that corner. Now you can draw a line from here to here if you want with a ruler and your pencil. You can use, like I'm doing, and use a piece of tape on the bed of the machine so that you can just follow the tip or the corner of the square and just follow it on up, which is what I'm going to do. It just saves quite a bit of time. So I'm just going to line everything up and then go ahead and sew. And then I'm going to do this for all 4 rectangles, and then when I get done I will trim and press, and then repeat the same thing for the opposite side of the rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to clip them apart. Okay, so now I'm going to trim off the outer corner, leaving a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'll press that up and I'll have this. So I'm going to go ahead and trim off all 4, and then I'll press, and then we'll sew on the other square. So now I'm going to sew a square to the opposite side and do the same thing. Go from the center to the outer corner. Okay, so do the same thing. I'm going to clip them apart, trim off the outer corner, and press, and then I'll have my completed flying geese units. Okay, so here is the flying geese unit. Okay, so now I need to make half square triangles with the B and the E squares, and on these E squares I have drawn a diagonal line on the wrong side. So I am going to pair those up and sew a 1/4 inch away from both sides of the drawn line to make my half square triangles. And this will make them a little bit large, so then I'll need to trim them down after I get them sewn. So this is the 2 at a time half square triangle method. You can do the 8 at a time method too, or you can use the triangle paper, or you can use the method that uses a template, which is also like a 2 at a time. So there's one set. Okay, so now I'm going to cut them apart right on the drawn line, and then I'm going to press towards the teal fabric. Okay, now I need to trim down these half square triangles into 2.5 inch squares. Right now they're about 2 5/8, so I need to trim those down. So I'm just going to lay the diagonal line of my ruler against the seam of the block, and then line the 2.5 inch line up with the edge of the block, and then I can trim these two sides and it'll be the size that I need it to be. So let me get everything lined up here. There we go. Okay, so now it's at 2.5, so I need to do that for all of these. So all my half square triangles are trimmed down to 2.5 inches square, and I need to make Cat's Cradle units with these, and 4-patch units. So for the 4-patch units, I'll do those first. They're going to lay out like this, and I'm just going to stack them all up. So this will be the 4-patch unit, just like this, and I need 4 of those. Those will be our outer corners. So I'm going to go ahead and stack sets here so that I have 4 of each. Need 3 more. Okay, so my 4 patches are all organized, and now I need to do the Cat's Cradle units. And let me move these to the side here. Now we're going to start in the corner, and then we need the E triangles. Now these triangles are going to be extra large, but we're going to trim them down after we sew them. So they're going to go like this. So we're just forming a larger triangle. So that's our Cat's Cradle unit. And we need 8 of those. So I'm just going to stack these all up. So there's 8 half square triangles, and there's 8 E triangles, and 8 E triangles over there. So everything's all set up for the Cat's Cradle, and then down here I have the 4-patch units. So I'm going to start with the 4-patch units first. Okay, so now I'm going to clip them apart and press and then sew them together. Okay, so now I just need to sew these 2 sets together. So just do them right sides together, and I pressed everything towards the white square, so everything should nest and come out in good shape. So let's go ahead and sew these together. Now we got four patch units. And there we go. So now I need to press those. Now these are all ready to go. So now we need to work on the Cat's Cradle units. Okay, here's what one completed Cat's Cradle unit looks like. So what I'm doing is taking a half square triangle and attaching a triangle on both sides. Well, like this and then like this. So I'm going to start here and attach this one, just sew this one on. And I've got them laid out on my pressing surface so that I don't get them turned the wrong way, because I've already done that once today. So it's this will help me to keep from doing that again, hopefully. Okay, so here's the first step, and it goes like that. So I'm going to press this towards the triangle and then sew the other triangle on. So press that real quick. So there we go, and I'm going to go ahead and cut off this dog ear, because if I don't, it's going to get in the way of sewing this other triangle on. So it looks like that so far, and then this triangle is going to go here. Okay, this triangle is going to go here. So then we have the Cat's Cradle unit. So I'll just fold that over and sew this down. So there we go. There is the Cat's Cradle unit, and I'm going to go ahead and press this one, this seam back towards the triangle, and then I'm going to finish the rest of them. There's 8 Cat's Cradle units that I need to make, and then I'll trim them because there's more than a 1/4 inch between the edge and that point. So I'm going to trim that down, and that's because I made those triangles from a 3-inch square instead of a 2 7/8 inch square, and I did that on purpose so that it would be a little bit large as opposed to being a little bit small. So that's just one of my it's just a little trick to help everything come out a little bit better. So now I need to trim all of these triangles down because there's too much space between the point and the edge of the triangle. So I'm just going to take my ruler, line up the 45-degree mark with one of the edges and the 1/4 inch mark with the point there of this square unit here, the half square triangle unit, and then I'll trim that. And now I have the right size Cat's Cradle unit, so I'm going to do that to all of them. Okay, now I'm ready to put together the center of the block, which is a star unit. So this is the D square here, and then we have the Flying Geese units on each side, and then a G square in each corner. So I'm going to sew these units together in rows and then sew the rows together, and then I've got the center of the block done, and then we can add on the 4 patch and the Cat's Cradle units and then the large triangles. So I'm going to do the first 2 units of each row and sew them together, and then I'll add the third. Okay, so now it's time to lay out the entire block, and so we're going to start with the center block here, and then we need a 4-patch unit in each corner, and I'm watching the way they all point, and I have white squares to white squares. This is a large block, so let me make a little bit more room here. Here we go. Now I need my A triangles, and these make the large star points, so they're going to go this way. Okay, so we have this, and now we need our cat's cradle units, and they're going to go this way. So we're doing selvage edge to selvage edge here. So they go like that. Okay, so now I have a good look at what I need to do. Okay, well, I'm going to sew the cat's cradle units, each one to the yellow star point, and make a block, and then I will sew these 2 rows, this row here and this row here, sew these 2 together, and then I can sew the whole thing together into rows. So I'm going to start with just sewing these together. So right sides together, and I'll just sew with a 1/4 inch seam allowance along the bias edge. Okay, I'm going to sew the first row of the units together. So I have the 4-patch and the cat's cradle, and I'm just going to sew that together. Okay, here is the completed block. I think it turned out pretty well, and I'm real happy with the way it turned out and the color scheme. I'm pretty happy with this one. So here we have the Oddfellows chain block. Well, that's it for the Oddfellows chain block. This one took a while. It's got all these different units that go into it, but I think it makes quite a pretty block. I think it's pretty stunning, and I think it'll go well with the vintage quilt that I'm working on, the vintage block quilt that I'm working on. So I'm pretty happy with the way this one turned out, and I hope you'll give this one a try. Now, if you like this video, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and click that notification bell so you'll be notified when the next video comes up. And in the meantime, I hope you're all staying safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. For more quilting ideas, click on the video links, and to keep up with my latest projects, click on the subscribe button. I hope to see you again soon.